The following is an independently produced community access program. The viewpoints expressed are those of the community access producer and do not reflect those of Shaw Cable Systems. The program is presented in response to CRTC policy guidelines regulating community programming.
What's happening here today?
We are doing our first of our Earth Day celebrations for Earth Week. Edmonton deserves a huge Earth Week, and we thought we would contribute by making the first Monday a big part of that. So we're doing our kickoff today.
And who is we?
The Green Party this year is sponsoring because Earth Day is run by volunteers. It's an entire volunteer organization. So whatever people manage to do gets done. So we decided we'd step up this year and do the kickoff.
Hello.
Okay, I wonder if you can take a picture now.
The freestyle stuff is where
we're masters of our world. At least we think we are. But we're really wrecking everything. This destruction has gone too far. We're making a footprint on the planet, large enough that we can fall right through. So we're marching in the street, burn the pavement with our feet. It's just the start of what we need to do. Choose your strength or choose your fall. Set the arrow, draw the bow. So one tomorrow shall be like today, but much more sweet. I listen to their honest chat. So when tomorrow we shall walk on featureless sands, coasting on miles and miles and miles of sea. So one tomorrow shall be like today, but much more sweet. for the butterflies to soar again. Someone must tell these huge corporations violation of Earth has to end.
Is love, what have we done?
Okay, well, I'm just saying it's really surprising that, you know, if we stop almost anybody on the street here in Edmonton and ask them what they know about the flat tax in Alberta, you'll find very few people who even know that we have a flat tax and that we're the only province in the country that has a flat tax, and let alone understand what it is or what progressive tax is.
Can you give just kind of a brief explanation of the terminology you're using?
Well, when it comes to income tax, the way that income tax used to be done in Alberta, the way it's done in most jurisdictions, is they use what they call progressive tax, and that means that the higher income you have, the higher rate you get taxed at. And with the flat tax, everyone, rich and poor, gets taxed at the same rate. Well, you know, on the surface that sounds fair. Oh, it's even for everyone. But it's not fair, because the thing is, the very, very wealthy people in Alberta or in any jurisdiction benefit the very most from society. Like, they couldn't be wealthy without the help of everyone else that does all the other jobs that it takes to make society run. And so, because they benefit the most from society, it's only fair that they should pay the most to make the society work. And that's the way things used to be done, but they're not done that way in Alberta anymore. And since 1999, when the corrupt Conservatives brought in the flat tax, there's been a transfer of funds. Like, there's been actually $30 billion of funding that should have gone into the public purse that has remained in the pockets of the most wealthiest people in Alberta. Very few, you know, probably less than 100 people in Alberta have benefited from this flat tax, and big time, like $30 billion. That's almost $2 billion a year for 15 years. Is a lot of money, and it's not hard to understand why this government now is scrambling to balance its budget by cutting services and cutting pensions, cutting services to the elderly. It's all to make up for this big shortfall because they're not taxing properly.
So what are you doing today to address the issue of the flat tax in Alberta?
Okay, well, I'm doing this sort of a multifaceted thing. I've started up a pseudo bank called the Free Bank of Progress, and I'm selling shares for 1 cent. And this is not a financial bank. What this is, when you buy a share for 1 cent in this bank, you're in effect, what you're doing is you're sharing this issue of killing the flat tax in Alberta. You're saying that you agree and you think that we should kill the flat tax in Alberta. And then the other thing that I'm encouraging people to do is when they come down here to buy a share, is to walk and talk about the issue and contact your friends and your connections and phone them up on your cell phone and encourage them to come down and buy a share and to spread this issue, because the people of Alberta should know about this. We're being cheated, and we need to know about this. So that's the share part of it. The walk and talk part of it is the idea is to do a walk where, I don't know if you can see this very well on your camera, but it's where people walk away, like here we are here, people walk away, and then when they come around, they loop back. And so what happens when people walk in this kind of a pattern, they actually walk by every single other person that's in the walk. It's different than a protest march where you march with only the few people around you. You don't see everyone in the march. But in this kind of a walk, you actually see everyone. And I'm hoping that I'm going to practice this over the summer, and when we get a really big one going, perhaps you can come out, Paula, and stand there and you can get a shot of everyone walking by.
So I've just purchased a share in Brian's bank, and he's filling out the form.
KIRMAN?
That's right.
There you go, Paula.
Thank you very much.